Welcome to the United States of Paranormal Podcast. Sit down and buckle up for an enlightening ride through everything cryptid, creepy, and paranormal.
Hello again, weirdlings. Welcome back to the United States of Paranormal. We hope you've been enjoying this creepy road trip across the United States. This week, it's our turn here in Indiana to talk about something that just might give you the heebie-jeebies, because it does for me. But we have some things that we need to cover before we buckle in on this adventure. Jeremy, how you doing?
Are we Team Bouger?
I think we should be Team Bouger.
We're Team Bouger.
Boo.
Yeah, we have Team Tejas, and we're like Team Bouger. We got to do it. You got to add the extra ooze in there.
Ooh, yeah.
Bouger. You know, Indiana Hoosier. In case, what did Boze say in an earlier
Hosers?
episode? Yeah, the hosers.
The hosers.
Yeah, hosers.
The Boogers.
The Boogers. I'm actually doing really good. I've been very busy between all the podcasting we've been doing. And so campground's opening very, very soon.
Woohoo!
So I'll be spending my weekends not editing. I'll be out there drinking beer and sitting on my deck, riding around my golf cart.
Woohoo!
Yay!
Sounds like a blasty blast.
It is so much fun. Maybe we can get the murderers out for an episode out there.
That would be fun.
Would that be fun?
Yes.
We
I'm
could
down.
do that.
I'm totally down.
All right.
Do you have a correction that you
I do have a correction. To all of our listeners, I want to apologize. In my last episode about the Hotel Galvez, we were talking about Galveston.
Mm-hmm.
And you asked me, and I got totally messed up. Galveston is an island. It is not a peninsula. And I even went back and looked it over because when I was editing and doing all this stuff for the episode, I was like, something doesn't feel right about that.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back and looked. It is called Galveston Island. And what I thought is on the west side, I thought it hooked into the bottom of Texas, but it's actually just a bridge. And it's a very short bridge. I don't think it's as long as one of the couple of the other ones that actually attached into Texas, but into the actual, land Texas. But yeah, I was wrong. And I'm so sorry to all of our listeners. I
was
messed
none the
up.
wiser. I had no idea.
I messed up and I feel terrible. And I was listening to it and I'm going, oh God, don't say peninsula ever again. Yes, Galveston is an island, and I apologize to all our Texas listeners and friends down there. So,
Sorry.
it is a beautiful, beautiful place.
Whoopsie.
So, if you ever get a chance to go there, you got to go hang out. It's really awesome.
I would love to go to Texas.
I love Texas.
So I wanted to start out this week by sharing our first listener submission. And remember, if you would like to share your own story of something that you just can't explain, or a haunting, or maybe even a time slip, I want to hear some of those.
Oh, time slips are kind of interesting.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Feel free to reach out to our social media pages or email them to us at theunitedstatesofparanormal@gmail.com. Such a mouthful.
It is very much so.
If you would rather your name not be used, just let us know and we can make it completely anonymous. This story comes to us from Erica, and she sent me this story and some videos to go along with it, and holy shit, really, really scary stuff.
Now, I have not heard this story yet. I just got the cherry, just that little cherry sprinkle thing to say, here. So I have not got to bite the ice cream yet. So go.
So she wrote it incredibly well also. It's not even
nice.
just a good story, but she did a really good job writing. So get ready.
So wait, we need to hire her as a writer?
Maybe.
All right.
Giggling, squeals, and happily yelling all sounds like normal behavior for a 2-year-old, but it's a little startling at 3 a.m., routinely. In the middle of the night, I'd lay and listen to the playtime routine my son had. I'd let it go, lay there a little concerned but exhausted. If he wasn't crying, I guess I should just let him be. After the weeks and weeks on end of this happening, I finally told my mom. I explained, it just seems off. He doesn't seem scared, but the routine of it is odd, and something just kept telling me it didn't sound like he was playing in the crib alone. She laughed, but was intrigued. And then she immediately bought a live stream camera where it would store the data so that I could rewatch the footage. We got it set up, and the routines just kept up. Of course, after it was installed, I became a detective. I would monitor the room prior to placing him in his crib and then rewatch as I tucked him in and then left the room. Right as I'd leave, orbs would start flying. The room was empty of orbs until I'd left the room. Camera footage at 3 a.m., orbs flying and getting more intense. My son would pop up and start jumping, holding onto the railing, just jumping and laughing, orbs flying around. He'd giggle, jump, squeal, and then he'd climb out, play around and climb back in. And I had no idea that he was leaving his crib at night, so I got a good laugh along with my mom. Now his little secret was busted. Well, I kept rewatching the 3 a.m. footage at the beginning of each morning. Once again, he'd pop up, he'd jump, he'd giggle, and then he'd squeal, "Hi, George." That's what my son started saying each morning, and I got goosebumps. He started talking more to George. "Stop it, George. Go, George." I'd hear my son grow more and more annoyed each and every night. One night my son popped up and started jumping and laughing, and I heard clear as day a lady sternly say, "Stop jumping." And my son stopped for a second and looked towards the direction of the voice where it came from. Do you have goosebumps right now?
God, you don't even know how, and my legs, my arm, that is.
It gets wild.
Oh my God.
It gets super wild. He then giggled and started jumping again. And then a man yelled, "Hey!" And it was not good energy. I was shocked. I officially had proof that he was being visited by spirits. I also was so sad to see that my 2-year-old wasn't exactly having innocent fun with these little friends of his either. It was clear that he didn't really want them there, but he would be woken up and give his friends a show. I started fighting back. I started saging. I addressed the man by his name. I saged literally all the time. The energy picked up, though. I sent the video footage to a trusted medium, and she said that she felt the spirit was using my son to get my attention and anger me. I wanted this man gone. I hired a legit Ghostbuster team out to my house, and she said, "I am just that extra." And they set up all their gadgets. I told her I felt that the old man would wait in my son's closet, so she placed a voice recorder in there. She said that she would leave it there for a few hours and go home and see if she picked up anything. Well, she got a little antsy after a few minutes and wanted to do a quick check. On the recording, an old man had said, "Hey, Erica, I'm back." She turned white and said, "Isn't that your name?" I got chills all over my butt.
Do we want to do any more of this? Oh my, okay.
I had mentioned I never told anyone this, but have felt that there's a large fat man in my closet. Not the old man, someone else. He doesn't do anything but stay in there, and he just wants to be left alone. He doesn't want me in my closet, and he's just not nice. My dad was with me, and he took the Ghostbusters to the closet, and he pointed and he pulled his hand back quickly and said a hand slapped his hand.
No.
Yeah. The team decided to place a flashlight in the closet and ask questions. They said, "Turn off for yes and back on for no." The light switch was blinking. There sure was a spirit in there. So thankfully he eventually left, and it took me lots of saging and begging for a long time, but he did leave. My son's spirits were even harder to get rid of. The activity just kept picking up. One night I heard my son get up to do his jumping routine, and then he screamed and cried. I was terrified. I woke my husband up and sent him in. He said it must have just been a night terror because our son was shaking. Mind you, he's 2.
Right.
I knew what it was. I pulled up the footage. He was jumping, and a strange noise came out of nowhere and looked to push him down. I started bawling. Now they were hurting him. How can I make this stop? I called a local pastor. He came and prayed, and I told him my son hasn't been the same since the occurrence. I shared something vulnerable and said I didn't believe that whatever the noise was, it was demonic and it possessed him. The pastor said all 2-year-olds act weird at times, and he made me feel like I was crazy. I didn't even think he thought there were spirits in the home. He asked if I was on meds and if I felt like I needed psychiatric help.
Oh, I have comments for that.
Right?
Yeah.
I was devastated. I just wanted to protect my son. I'm not Catholic, but I ended up calling a Catholic priest. He came and did a home blessing. He took holy water all over, and my son had fallen asleep on the couch. He would be so tired during the day because of his nightly jumping routines. He took water and doused my son in it and prayed. I told him to say an exorcism prayer, what's that called? Logan covered it in his first episode.
I know, and now I'm like, yeah.
I don't remember.
Sorry.
Brain. So he did. And my son never woke up during this, and he's typically a very light sleeper. When he woke up, he was totally himself again. He started talking again, and for days he wasn't talking. He was growling and acting almost feral. He woke up and said, "Hi, Mom," and he was back. I cried so hard and just hugged him. But I knew the battle wasn't over. The blessing helped the home, but within a few days, it was back. George was still here. I started Googling other things to do because I was desperate. I paid a medium to do a long-distance home clearing, and she was states away and tuned into the spirits and was able to get to the story and get George to leave. She told me George lived here before us and before the home was even built. He was a farmer and lived in a little old home that was here before our home was built. I didn't know there was a little home here before our home was built at all. She said his final possession still lies in our barn, an old rusted axe. She said that my husband knows where it is. She said that she was able to get angry, grumpy George to leave our home. I wanted to know who the female voice was. My son said her name was Gemma. The medium said Gemma is your son saying grandma. She is your husband's grandma trying to get him to lay down and behave. After the clearing, our home felt better, and after all of that, there was no more orb activity, and my son wouldn't pop up at night. It all ended. Months later, I ran into a lady who asked where I live. She said that she drives by often and told me she and her husband almost bought the land where our home was built on. But she said that there was a little old house there that creeped her out, so they didn't. I couldn't believe it. There really was a little house there. I wish there was a way to find documented proof of if the farmer's name was George or if George ever lived there. I'm just thankful that the battle is over, though. I still do feel other spirits from time to time, but I just ask them to leave or to try to ignore them. My son no longer wakes up in the middle of the night, and he doesn't notice spirits anymore.
So the little boy's grandma was there too?
Yeah, the one that was telling him to stop. And
you got, she sent you videos.
Yes, she actually did send me several videos, and they're scary. You hear things and see things. And it's obvious. I feel bad because her son was jumping, having a good time, and then he would just start screaming. Look at my house. It's very obvious. I had told her, it sounds like he keeps saying spooky, spooky, spooky over and over again. Like he's scared when he was scared.
Right.
So, yeah, I definitely wholeheartedly believe her. And I feel so bad that they had to go through this. And thank goodness he's young enough that hopefully he doesn't understand or remember.
So now did they remove the axe? Is that my understanding? They removed the axe from the property?
She didn't tell me. I don't know. I'm going to have to follow up on that because I wonder if since the medium said that her husband knows where the axe is, I wonder if he did go out and get rid of it. I hope so.
I would think that'd be one of the first things I would do is to remove that. Because if you watch some of those old shows, like the Haunted Collector and stuff like that, he takes those items out of the house and puts them in his collection, and then
because that energy stays attached to the possession. Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
Super.
That's
creepy.
A great story.
Yeah. So if anybody has any ghost stories or weird things that they've seen, just feel free to message us on social media or email us because we'll definitely read it on air and share your spooky.
And Erica, thank you for sharing your story.
Yes, thank you, Erica. I appreciate it.
That's amazing. That's an amazing story. I can't wait to watch those videos with you here in a little bit.
They're wild.
Oh.
So this week's episode, I'm going to be talking about a cryptid.
Okay.
And this
cryptid.
Cryptid.
Not
yes.
cryptid.
Not cryptic.
Cryptic. Cryptid. Once again, I got called out on that early on. Thank you, Logan.
So this critter, they're honestly the most terrifying in my opinion. And I remember seeing the footage that was captured first and thinking, what in the hell is this thing?
Okay.
I hate it. And I ended up deep diving on what they are and their whole story. And because they terrify me so much that I just knew this needed to be my very first episode so I can scare you as well.
Okay. Yeah. Great. Yeah. I'm not sleeping the night.
I don't know if you've ever heard of these, but they're called the Fresno Nightcrawlers. Have you heard of them before?
I have not.
you're in for a ride.
Okay.
And I'm going to show you the videos later on.
Oh, man, you got videos for them too?
Yeah.
You ain't getting out of here in time. We'll be watching videos all the rest of the night.
So my sources are Cryptid Wiki, the Fresno Bee newspaper, the Fresno Nightcrawlers episode of Olympia Oddities podcast, and Cryptid Case Study, Fresno Nightcrawlers by YouTuber Madame Macabre. Now, they're called the Fresno Nightcrawlers and also the Fresno Nightwalkers and also the Fresno Aliens. They go by many names.
Oh, okay.
But they have been sighted in a couple other places outside of Fresno, California. That was just the first documented sighting, which is something that within cryptids is really common, where they just name it where they were first documented.
Right.
Other places include Yosemite National Park area, which is roughly an hour and a half away from Fresno, Montana, and even in the country of Poland. So, yeah, they
They're
go
travelers.
outside. Yeah, they must have like frequent flyer miles.
Or they're using those portals we talked about.
Hey, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe they are.
I'm zoning in on that portal thing.
So I'm sure you're wondering, what in the heck even is a Fresno Nightcrawler? They are completely white, and they look like a pair of long, flowing, thin legs with no torsos, no arms, and at the top of the legs is a really small head. Almost like the wooden doll pins that they use to hang clothes.
Yeah.
That's kind of what they look like. Although the footage captured of them makes them seem huge, once the footage was analyzed, they realized they're pretty small. What is happening?
You're telling wicked, crazy, haunting stories.
The light in here is flickering.
Yeah.
And it's never done this that I've ever
No, it's
remembered.
because we're talking paranormal, and that's what's going on.
I don't
We'll just have to power through it.
Okay.
It couldn't have nothing to do with the windstorm that we got going on outside.
Not
but,
the
you know,
windstorm at all.
It's all
It's
paranormal here.
spooky.
Yeah, now we can say the studio's haunted.
Don't say that. You're going to ask it to come here. Anyway, they're pretty small little guys. The tallest one measured less than 5 feet, which is tall for me because I'm 5'5". So that's like almost as tall as me.
So you run into it eyeball to eyeballs.
Well, you don't know if they have eyeballs. That's the thing, that you can just tell they're white. We'll get into that.
Okay.
But in the same videos that there were the roughly 5 foot tall ones, there were a bunch of smaller ones that almost look like little baby night crawlers. And the way they walk is really unnerving. They're mostly legs. So they have this like really wide gait to them, and they take really large strides with just their legs are moving because they're just a head on legs. They're so gross looking. I can't stand them.
Kind of like chopsticks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. The smaller ones move quicker since their legs aren't quite as long, but the larger ones seem to have like this webbing that goes in between their legs that you can kind of see in the videos, because there's 3 videos and then an extra one that I don't buy. We'll get into that. There's 4 known videos that have been captured of them, and they're all taken at night on home surveillance cameras. But one of them has been on a cell phone. And the quality isn't great, obviously, because we aren't getting HD footage here, and it's at night. It's the night vision. So it's hard to pick out any details of what they actually look like. So you can't really see any facial features or anything like that. They basically just look like ghostly pants walking on their own. And that's what a lot of people call them, is spooky pants.
Spooky pants.
Yeah.
Okay.
So although they come off as scary and startling, there have been no reports of them hurting anyone or causing any damage or problems. And some people think they're like kind and peaceful and find them really cute. I am not one of those people. If they're bad, if they're harmless, if they're good, I don't care. Just stay away from me. They freak me out real bad. So the man who captured the first known footage of the Nightcrawlers is named Jose. His last name is undisclosed due to him fearing people would think he is like creating a hoax, or he's not of sound mind, or even fear of becoming a target. His family also didn't want to get unwanted attention from the media or the community because of this. But in November of 2007, Jose was asleep in his home in South Fresno, California. He woke up in the middle of the night to his dogs going absolutely wild inside of his home, and then his security system camera triggered, saying that it caught something on film. So Jose reviewed the footage on live stream, and was shocked to find that there wasn't someone breaking into his home or trespassing onto his property. It was several small creatures, legs up to here, walking into frame, walking across his front lawn, and then walking out of frame. He was so startled by what he found that he immediately woke up his brother and had him rewatch what he had just seen and confirm that I'm not crazy.
Right.
So when they went outside to investigate the next morning, they said that they saw small footprints in the dirt outside on his lawn. Yeah. Jose wasn't sure what to do or where to send this footage. Honestly, what do you do? Call the police? I guess, but like they're probably going to think you're crazy. I just got the shit scared out of me. Did you see my face?
For those that don't know, we are in some serious straight line winds here, and in the studio there is a metal roof, and we had a bunch of trees just probably fell down on top of the studio.
Oh my god!
Or a bunch of limbs. I shouldn't say trees, but yeah.
I literally felt my soul leave my body.
Alicia's having a tough time right now. Hold on.
Anyway, what do you do with this kind of footage, right? Like, give it to the police or...
I do have a couple ideas. First thing I would do is I would cast the footprints. I would get the little cast like they do for Bigfoot. And then I would call my boy Josh Gates because, for starters, I get to meet Josh Gates. That would be awesome. And then I'd be like, come check this out. And then he would investigate. But that's what I would do.
Well, what Jose did was he sent a copy of it to his local news station, which was Univision, hoping that maybe they could give him some insight or lead him
debunk it or something.
Lead him in the right direction. And they did one better and actually contacted a local paranormal investigator named Victor Camacho. And Victor was able to speak directly to Jose and about what he had captured.
Right.
But unfortunately, he wasn't able to come to any conclusions. And by the time that he went to Jose's home, the footprints had washed away from weather.
Right.
Of course, because he didn't cast them or protect them. So somehow the original footage caught on the camera was lost or deleted.
What?
And all that is left is a copy that Jose sent to the news station, which is like a grainy recording of a monitor. The footage is still eerie, nonetheless. And as of an article in the Fresno Bee newspaper, Jose was said to have died in a car accident a few years ago. So he never really got the answers that he was looking for concerning the Nightcrawlers.
Did they cut his brakes?
They only have legs. They don't seem to have hands.
How do you know that they couldn't do that with their little legs?
I mean, maybe.
Oh, my.
The second time the Fresno Nightcrawlers were captured on video was within Yosemite National Park in California in March of 2011. The park was continuously dealing with people entering after closing hours and vandalizing property and wildlife, so they installed security cameras in various locations that they knew were hotspots for after-hours traffic. They were hoping that they could catch whoever was damaging.
Yeah.
Or doing the damage. But when the park rangers reviewed the footage, they were shocked to find white humanoid creatures with no arms, long legs, and small heads. They behaved and walked just the same way that the anomalies in Jose's footage did. They walked into frame, walked down a hill, and then walked out of frame. One of the most recent sightings was caught on video at a home in Billings, Montana in April of 2020, so not that long ago. On the surveillance video, you see a normal backyard. Several seconds into the video, a car passes, and then it turns around, turns, the car does, and it flashes its lights in the yard. I'm sure you've had that before where people pull into your driveway or whatever. And for a split second, you see a thin, leggy critter walk in from the right frame, then turn around and walk back where it came from. And it's quick. If somebody was on stilts, I don't think they could do this. But it's almost as if it was going to walk across the yard, but that car lights spooked it a little bit. Haha, spooked it. And so it turned around. And in the video, you can also hear different animal noises that are really hard to identify. Some people say that it sounds like a pig or a large mammal. There's so many mammals. What do you say a large mammal?
Right.
That could be anything. And then in a small wooded area close to where the video was taken, a fresh deer carcass was found the next day. But that could be circumstantial, and there isn't really anything that's connecting the two incidences. And then we have this footage. I think this one's bullshit, but it was caught by a man in Poland on his cell phone. And I'm not sure when it was taken exactly, but the video was uploaded in 2018. It's really shaky, really dark, but you see a, quote, white, long-legged creature walking by the camera, super zoomed in, and it looks really, really fake, like a bed sheet wrapped around wires or poles. I'm not going to go too much into this one just because I think it's a total...
It's a hoax.
Yeah, I think it's BS. But I just wanted to include it because those are the only videos that I could find and the only documented instances of people seeing them. Obviously, lots of people have tried to debunk what the Fresno Nightcrawlers could actually be. Some explanations are a puppet or pants on a wire or strings, a person walking on stilts and wearing really big pants. Some people believe it's like a really, really extravagant hoax. YouTuber Captain Disillusion created a GIF of a Fresno Nightcrawler by walking down an alley, holding a melon above his head, and then he went in and removed the top half of his body and his arms, showing how easily it could be to manipulate videos and falsify cryptids. And it's really funny looking, but it's still kind of spooky. Outside of purposeful fakes, Fresno's Nightcrawlers have been explained away with natural occurrences. Some people have mentioned that it looks similar to a deer standing on its back legs when trying to reach up into trees. But I find that hard to believe because I don't think a deer can walk very far when it's on its back legs. I could be wrong. I'm not a deer
Me neither.
person, but I've seen deer reach up into trees and eat leaves and stuff. But I don't know, can it walk down a hill like that? I doubt it. I doubt that a deer can walk down a hill on its back legs. It also, is a deer standing on its back legs, wouldn't it be taller than 2 to 5 feet?
Well, yeah, definitely. And also you would see the antlers, the head, and the torso.
Yeah, it's not shaped like an A.
Yeah.
It's just kind of how these are shaped. It would be oh, that's a deer, I
yeah,
guess.
I don't think you could misrepresent a deer as that.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
But, I mean, if there's a camera glitch,
yeah,
and then that'd be really far-fetched to be a camera glitch that it would actually erase part of the video or whatever, the rest of the body, and it would just be the legs walking across. I mean, wow, that'd be a real stretch. And,
yeah,
and
they're reaching here.
That would be only on one video. If you've had several, you said 3 videos of this captured.
Yeah.
It must have been all the same manufacturer. Must have been an Apple.
Hey, whoa. Take it too far. Another explanation was a long-legged bird, like a crane. But once again, the legs of a crane are pretty thin, almost branch-like. Yeah. And although the legs of the Nightcrawlers are thin, they're extremely long and flow back and forth, kind of like pants. And they're almost like bell-bottom pants or
Right, I'm with you.
Yeah, boot-cut pants maybe. They've also been considered to be a mutation of some sort, whether it be a birth defect or an accidental abnormality in nature or even a manufactured mutation. So, yeah. You know what I'm saying here?
A manufactured mutation.
Yeah, something that was mutated through chemical spills or a factory's releasing sludge and something got whenever I think of a manufactured mutation, I think of the 3-eyed fish from The Simpsons.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of something like that. Or maybe even a new form of fungus that's rare and undiscovered. The possibilities are endless here.
A rare fungus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. The biggest problem with them being falsified is that the first video that was filmed by Jose was reviewed by the Sci-Fi Channel. on a show called Fact or Faked: Paranormal Files, and it was episode 2. The team labeled that the video was unexplainable and they couldn't debunk it. The experts on hand found that the footage had not been tampered with and wasn't edited.
Was that with my girl Jael? That's okay. It's all right. Because we used to watch a lot of those Fact or Faked.
Yeah. You might have seen it and just.
I probably.
It's
As you were
back
trying to
there in your
explain
brain.
it, I'm thinking that maybe I've seen this. So
Some explanations of what the Nightcrawlers are fall more into the paranormal, are possibly an alien or extraterrestrial being, like an insect or insectoid race. Some people believe it's a new species of animal that's never been discovered before, possibly a primate with short arms or no arms. I don't buy that one, but okay. Some people think they may even be a species of forest spirit or a fairy.
oh yeah.
And allegedly, Native American legend seems to back up the theory that the Nightcrawlers are aliens, and in fact, aren't even new here. The legends of them have been shared for generations, allegedly. Keyword allegedly. The Nightcrawlers are said to have always lived on planet Earth, and they originally came from a planet that was bog-like and swampy, which is why their legs are so long. It's to help them maneuver through high water.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's where they live on Earth now and are easily able to hide because the tops of them is so small, and then they stand at the bottom of the marshes. They came to Earth to be peace bringers and now are part of the planet. Which okay.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. They help spiritually reconnect and rebuild human relationships with nature and our natural surroundings. The biggest issue with this is there is no direct source of this information. There is no tribe that is named. And I even looked through a whole list of several tribes that were in California and their legends, their myths, everything. And I couldn't find any source for this information. And this is the same thing that happened with these wooden carvings and statues. There were photos of them that were saying, yeah, see, this is the history of the Native American culture, saying, oh, we've had these Nightcrawlers around forever. These photos appeared on the internet just out of nowhere. And it was claiming to be generational proof that Native lore and the connection to the Nightcrawlers. But the photos state they're from Fresno, but they just kind of appeared. And after 2007, there was no explanation. There's no tribe connected to them. Some of the statues look different, and there's no exact location of where they even are, and no one seems to know what these carvings are or if they're even real at all. So that's pretty wild. I'll be sure to post that on social media so you guys can see those, because if they are fake, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. So are the Fresno Nightcrawlers real or not? I think it's human nature to want to create a long history to make it seem more believable, but it seems that all of the history is kind of fabricated. As for the footage, it's convinced me that these things are out there roaming around. They're pretty spooky. At least 3 of the 4 videos were believable. I mean, they don't look fake, in my opinion. The way they move is just bleh. But I have no explanation myself. And despite the history of the Nightcrawlers not holding much water, the clips that went viral created a storm online. They've become a bit of a fan favorite for cryptid lovers, and the amount of fan art that's been made is just wild.
Really?
Yeah, from scary renditions and like really crazy stuff they have like crazy teeth and they're like muscular and gross looking, to these like cute and cuddly variety where they just look like you want to squeeze them, or like a ghost with legs. Like that's kind of what it looks like.
I'm back to the point where if they're fungus, can we throw them in some butter and fry them up? That's terrible.
No.
Sorry.
Whatever they are, people really seem to love them, whether they're real or not. So, Jeremy, what do you think?
Well, once again, you have something that only comes out at night, and I have a hard time with a lot of those things where you just don't. But I do have a couple questions for you.
Yeah.
So you said there was some cell phone footage.
Yeah.
And one of the videos was taken with cell phone. Was that the one that you think is
the
sketchy?
Poland? Yeah, the one
Okay.
from Poland.
All right. Because in my thought is, if you got time to snap your cell phone and take video of that, are you walking up on them and what's the report of that
Yeah.
beyond that point? Obviously, you think that one's sketch. So
Yeah,
let's-
and there's no source for it. It
Yeah.
just, like, I think it was a re-upload that happened in 2018. I don't think... I'll show it to you.
Okay.
And you can... Anybody that's listening can look it up on YouTube.
they're out there.
Yeah, they're out there. They're pretty easy to find. It's just... That one looks super fake. The other ones on the surveillance footage, those ones are pretty convincing.
Crazy.
Yeah.
You said something about damage in Yosemite. Did they put the cameras up because there was damage going on from people sneaking in?
Yes.
Were they? Do they think these things are making the damage?
No, they do not think.
They just think that happened. They walk through frame.
Yeah.
Okay. And that also brings you to the deer carcass that you found. Was that deer carcass being eaten, or was it?
There was a picture of it, and it just kind of looks like it's just dead.
Like they scared it to death.
Maybe.
I mean, like, ooh,
Yeah.
it's a fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, the one last question, and like I said, all these I'm not sure if you had answers for, but the car that turned around and blinked its lights, did anybody talk to who was driving that car? And why did they turn around? Did they see him in the street and they saw him go through into that yard, and that's why they come in and brightened them to see if they were they were there?
To me, when I watched the footage, it looked like they were turning.
Okay, so it was incidental.
Wasn't like
Yeah.
it just happened to.
Okay. I
like-
wonder if they did see him though while they were.
Maybe. I don't think so, because if you see it, the Nightcrawler's in the bottom right-hand corner of the frame, and there's like a yard. I think there was a trampoline and stuff in the yard, and then the car was coming in from the top left of the frame down a road.
So more than likely they were just turning around. It was just.
Yeah, I think they were going like towards the bottom of the frame, like it was an intersection, and they turned onto another road.
Oh,
like,
I was
like in
thinking
an
they
L
were
shape.
pulled in the driveway and then.
No, they were turning down a road, and you know how like you turn and your lights flash towards something.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's what happened.
Okay.
I don't think. I mean, I don't. They didn't say anything about contacting a driver or anything, but that would be really interesting if they saw anything.
And you talked about them living in the swampy areas.
Yeah.
So who's to say that all these swampy areas that we've ever just walked through when you're hiking or doing something like that, that they're not just they're just sitting there looking at you.
Yeah.
I'm thinking they have an eyeball. I mean, I would think they'd have to be able to see.
I'll show you pictures and videos of them
Okay.
because, yeah, and like I said, I'm gonna post some photos and screenshots of the videos on our social media pages, so you guys all can check them out too. I want to know your opinions. I wanna know if you think these guys are real, if you have a different theory of what they are. I thought the fungus theory was really interesting.
Yeah.
I had never heard of that one before until I started actually doing this case, or this episode. So it's kind of, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
They freak me out. I know that.
So tonight, Alicia's going to be staring out her back window of her bedroom, waiting to see if one walks through the... Oh, they'll get on your Ring camera. That would be amazing.
Maybe they'll scare the cats out of my yard. Like I'm shitting in my backyard. We can only hope.
We can only hope.
I'd rather have a freaky critter, and I don't even like these guys.
Oh, my goodness.
I'd rather have them walk around on their
Well, they
stilt
sound
legs.
like they honestly sound like they're friendly. They don't sound like they're destructive or violent.
Yeah,
Just kind of doing their thing.
they've not done anything bad.
I wonder what they're doing just walking through the yard. Are they looking for food? Or are they looking for...
The podcast I listened to, they were like, "Where are they walking? Where are you walking
Where
to,
are you
bud?"
walking to? He's
Yeah,
walking to
bro.
Jerusalem.
Where
there
are they
you go.
going?
Oh, that's pretty good, though.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. So if you want to see what they look like I said, I'll put it on our social media pages. We have Facebook and Instagram. Just search the United States of Paranormal. And also our Twitter, which is TUSOP Pod. If you have any suggestions for an episode, feel free to message us on there or send us an email. Like I said, I'm ready and willing to tell your spooky stories on the air.
Yeah, the one you first had today was amazing.
As a spooker.
Yeah.
So before I go, I just want to plug our other podcasts in the Golden Mojo network of podcasts.
Yay!
So Jeremy's podcast, Golden Image. Do you need a new place to go with in Indiana and you're just kind of lost? Jeremy and Skylar and Gunnar, they go to various restaurants, bars, festivals, or anywhere else that you can spend your time, and they review each place based on their experience. So you know whether this is something you want to go to or maybe you're going to skip that one. So your next episode for the review part of the podcast comes out every other week. And then also in between then he does, so Jeremy did for 5 years, he did a radio show, a pretty popular radio show. And he's been throwing out vintage episodes from that radio show on the off weeks on Golden Image. So they're really fun to listen to. There's some music in there.
And it's all local original music from that day. And, and the bands that I've been putting back on are all local original bands. And, they're friends of mine. I played with them and we, just hung out.
Don't say it like that.
We played together.
No, that sounds worse.
We were in the same venue playing music at the same at times that were slated for us to be on the stage.
There you go.
Woo! I'm exhausted after that one. No, a lot of love for a lot of my band brothers and sisters out there.
Yeah.
We've had some great ones, and I really enjoyed going back and listening to these old episodes.
What a fun community.
Yeah, it's an amazing community there, and there is a lot of brotherly love there.
Aw.
Yes.
That's so sweet. Speaking of brothers.
Yep.
Gunner also has a podcast.
He's not my brother.
He's not your brother. He's Skylar's brother. I'm your adopted daughter, so he's basically my brother now too.
Yep. You're stuck with all of us.
Gunner has his own podcast with his best friend Colton, and it's called The Call Guys. Each week, he and Colton discuss a variety of pop culture topics from the MCU to Star Wars and everything in between. So if you like nerding out about all kinds of fun stuff, that's your podcast. They're fun. They're a bunch of goobers on there. So, or maybe you need more scary content after listening to us. Murder with Murd Nerds. That's my podcast. It's a true crime podcast hosted by myself and my best friend Ashley, and we discuss the missing, the unsolved, and strange true crime tales within Indiana, and only Indiana so far. We've got it.
I think you still have a lot to go before you ever get out of the state of Indiana.
We haven't even put a dent in it.
Not a dent.
All of these podcasts are available wherever you enjoy listening to podcasts. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, rate, and review. It's totally free, and it's an easy way to help support each of these podcasts and this network that we're trying to build. So, the United States Paranormal, we got the Golden Image podcast, we've got the Call Guys, and we've got Murd Nerds. So just go follow us, rate and review. Tell us how we're doing. And if you would like to help the United States of Paranormal podcast monetarily, we do have a ton of incredible merch out.
Oh my goodness, it's so amazing.
These designs are sick.
Yes,
like you like Sasquatch or Skunk Ape, whatever. Logan yelled at me. It's the Skunk Ape.
It's the Skunk
Logan
Ape,
yelled at me. You want to see him peeing on a tent?
Yep.
You can get that on a shirt.
Yep. Yes, you can.
You want to see a spooky ghost flying out of a really sick-ass gravestone with some headphones on?
You can get that.
You can get that on leggings.
Yes, you can.
If you want, what's the other one? The Scarecrow?
The Scarecrow.
The Scarecrow. That one's terrifying because I cannot stand Jeepers Creepers, that movie. Hate it, and that's what it reminds me of.
I hate that movie.
If you want spooky, scary, I almost said skeletons, Scarecrow on a shirt, on a sweatshirt, that's your thing. Or you can get Jeremy as a skeleton.
Or you can get the best one that's available, and that is Golden Jay as a skeleton and a mullet,
Rocking your mullet.
Back in my mullet days.
I think you should grow it back out.
No, I'm good. I don't miss it. But, they took pictures of me back in, that was my senior picture that they took that from. So, yeah.
That's freaking hilarious.
That is a long time ago, people. A really, really long time ago.
That's so funny.
But I love that. I love that picture. And it was a shout out to all my bands on the table that he's in front of the DJ table.
We need a poster.
I think we need to figure something out.
In the studio.
But it was also a shout out to my buddy Mike Hilton, and AKA Fruit Pie. One of the posters on the side of the desk said you can get your fruit pie. So rock show. So if you go back and listen to the Golden Image podcast with the fruit pie one, you'll understand that completely.
So good.
Oh,
so good. Yeah. So if you're a big Jeremy fan, you can
and
get
why wouldn't you be
Skeleton DJ Jeremy on your shirt. But you can find the purchasing link on any of our social media accounts. So I think that's all for me today.
All righty. Well, that was an amazing job.
Thanks.
And once again, I'd like to thank Erica for sending that.
Yeah, for real. Thank you, Erica.
That was amazing.
It was a killer story.
I'm going to go look at the videos now because I'm going to be creeped out.
He's not going to sleep tonight thanks to you, Erica.
I'm going to have to sleep with Ozzy. He'll protect me.
All right, everyone. We'll see you on the other side.
Bye. To support other Golden Mojo Entertainment productions, check out Golden Image Podcast, The Call Guys, and Murd Nerds wherever you enjoy listening to podcasts. To see photos and find new episodes of the United States of Paranormal, follow us on our social media. Twitter at TUSOPPOD, or Instagram at the United States of Paranormal, and Facebook, the United States of Paranormal. If you have a place that you'd like us to look into, or would like to share your spooky story that we can read on the air, please email us at theunitedstatesofparanormal@gmail.com.